Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here one more time, and this is my latest message to you. Listen, this I'm going to talk about waiting to die. Waiting to die. I remember growing up in Mississippi, I never thought I'd pass 18. Well, I survived 18 and at that time didn't have to go into the military or anything. I don't know if that was a part of what I considered my possibilities as being limited by. Then I never thought I'd be able to reach 21. Having left 21, I thought 23. And after 23, then, hey, you just give it up. You might live forever. And then you go again and maybe at 27, 28, and try to die. And the same power that's been keeping you alive all the time now still want to permit you to die. And so I've spent all of these years out here, ladies and gentlemen, living off the blessings of the almighty power that we cannot see, cannot touch, and cannot feel. And I find myself at this moment in time saying to you that I'm waiting to die. And the reason that I'm waiting to die is because hell is just a little bit too much for me. Hell breaks my heart. I find myself crying. Too much pain, suffering, it means too much to me. Your pain, your suffering means something to me. It really does. I mean, the evil things that Donald Trump and his people are doing. It bothers me in the fact that it causes so much pain to you. But at the same time, it bothers me to know that they have gone through and are enduring so much pain themselves at this moment in time. I look at the coronavirus that just gone through. I look at George Floyd and the uprising that it has sparked, not just here in Minnesota and America, but all across the globe, as a statement to all the people everywhere what power looks like and what the abuse of power looks like. You know, when you saw this cop with his knee killing George Floyd, and then you come back later with the president of the United States doing what they do in Russia, doing what they do in North Korea, doing what they do in China, doing what they do in the Philippines, got guys in uniforms protecting themselves with bats and sticks, beating up the American people, beating them up, people who are dissatisfied with what's going on, and the only solution that the powers that be, the system has, is beat them. Beat them. And the president of the United States talking about shooting you. We don't care about you. Shoot them. Shoot them. The coronavirus, we want you to go back to work and get our markets back together. If you get sick and die, we'll just act like it didn't happen, something that's going to happen anyway. To hell with you, they're telling you. This is what the system is saying, not just to black people and people of color, but to everybody that's not associated with power. And usually that means a lot of money or taking care of the business of those who got a lot of money to keep us oppressed. Hey, now you might not know that and you do it and you got reasons to just ignore it, but I know that and I ain't got no reason to ignore it. Now, what the nation has been going through for the past week or so. Well, we're going to redress this. We're going to make sure we change the police department and this. We're going to give some more money out into the community. That's the same thing they did in the 60s when they got a toast of what it could be like. When Dr. King passed, that's the same. Gave everybody a job, gave them some money, make them think they were doing something. They were out there serving the people. And they're doing the same thing today, ladies and gentlemen, trying to make you think that since they give you some money, try to move some statues, that they care about you. They do not give a stink about you. Not only do they not give a stink about you, you don't give a stink about yourself. You see, the natural plan is this, is that all wonderful good things come from God. We as human beings are here from God. We're supposed to be good things. And we are here to represent God. To represent God. And when we are not representing God, we are representing another God. It's not the God of love. It is not the God that created us. So when you see the fundamentalist Christians over there with Donald Trump talking about the Spirit told them that they had to do what Donald Trump said, and if they didn't, they were disobeying God. Yes, they were saying they were disobeying God. The same God that told Adam and Eve in the garden, you will not surely die. The same God that went and told the angels and got a third of them to believe that the same angel that's down here trying to divide this nation. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. God's plan, and those who know God, that God is able to live through, their interest is heaven on earth for everybody, not leaving anybody out. Now, that doesn't mean if you don't want to be in heaven that you got to have a wonderful life. No, you can have whatever life you want, as long as it doesn't infringe upon the heaven that others have. No, if that's your heaven, then right on, sisters and brothers. So what I'm basically saying to you is that it is God's will, that the natural order. But you do have choice. You can reject the natural order. And when you reject the natural order, you're going to see lying and cheating and stealing. And the devil going to tell you that lies are the truth. And because you don't know any better, you're going to accept that as being truth. And so you're going to walk out doing everything you possibly can. But I want to say this, ladies and gentlemen, without talking to you too much longer. All these things I'm saying to you now, I've said before. I've given you some solutions that God has given me to share with you about things you could do to eliminate these problems. I got them on video, Facebook and YouTube. So just look for them. They out there, and they'll answer anything you want to know. And if you're curious about yourselves and everybody else, you'll want to know, and you'll go out there and check it out. Because for 40 years, that's all I've been doing, is being programmed by the Spirit of love to share with you at a moment like this. So I want you to know this. Whatever the system is doing for you in America, and whatever the system is doing for you all over the world, where you have rebelled and knocked on statues and all of this and all of that, they are not trying to resolve the problems. They are not concerned about resolving the problem. This system and all systems everywhere are built on the existence of that which creates these problems. Don't you think for 1 minute that this indicates that you are coming in the right direction. You're not coming in the right direction. You've been in the same path all along. In the same path all along. And since you do not believe the truth, meaning you must not have that relationship with God, that all of you are entitled to the blessings. Since you do not have that connection, you will not represent that. They know you will not represent that. And so they're going to offer you this sugar water. They're going to offer the sugar water to you. And many of you will be willing to go for this sugar water because you don't know what to do. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to me. When you see those cops, whether they're National Guards, whether they're the military, or whether there's some cops they brought in from Russia to come in and beat your head. Whenever you see some cops beating someone with whatever those sticks are, when you see them beating them like they're trying to break their legs and break their hands and everything, that's the same expression of that man with his knee, that cop with his knee on George Floyd's neck. Those are the same people. Those are the same people. It is beatings like that. It is a disrespect for human beings like that allowed this officer to disrespect George Floyd and kill him. It is that whole entire practice. So don't you think that just because they're talking about restraining the chokehold, that they're trying to get up off anything. They ain't trying to get up for nothing. But I would tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to lose. If you're not standing for, let me say this. I want to say this because I want you all to understand me. God wants your needs, your wants, and your desires met. And basically for survival, that includes food, clothing, and shelter. Never to be denied it. That's the way God wants it. Education, never denied it. Healthcare, never denied it. And all of those other things that you guys come up with, imagine, and infrastructure and transportation and all those other things that you come up with, it's all from God through these individuals for you the people. For you the people. And every last one of you are entitled to them. And here is how it is guaranteed to you. Is that everybody who wants to would be benefiting from these food, clothing, shelter, education, the things I just mentioned. Everybody who would benefit from them, and that's basically everybody, all human beings. So if you're going to benefit from them, God made it possible that each individual that came on earth got a career objective within, already built in. So they can choose it. And having the opportunity to exercise it gives them the greatest joy, gives you the greatest joy in doing that job. Gives you joy immeasurable. That means out of all these unlimited resources that God has given, and if they're limited, it's only for a period of time for God to replace it with something else. Gives you the chance to use and create and create and create for humankind. Now that was God's plan. He equipped you to play a part in the creation. Now when you bring all this stuff back, who does it belong to? Who created it? The people created it. So it belongs to the people. That's it. Now, if you can't see that, if you can't see that for every human being on the face of the earth, if you find some kind of prejudice, if you find some kind of virus mess up in your thinking and in your spirit and in your soul that will not permit that for every human being on earth, then there is no difference in you and Trump and the Democrats and all of this hell that we are experiencing today at this moment, at this time. We deserve because we are bringing it on ourselves. Now, if there are those of you in numbers who would go to the polls and vote and write your name in because you think that your vision for each human being on earth is well, not each human being, but your vision for people on earth is just like that I described, which is for everybody, then you write your name in for president, write your name in for senator, write your name in for congressman, write your name in for any of those positions that you can, stating that you're fed up with the junk, you're ready to give up yourself to make sure that things are right for everybody. No shame in your game. Now, when you say that, you making a point. Something got to happen. And as I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Judgment Day. You got to choose. There ain't no planning here. You're going to either be with the devil or you're going to be with God. I'm telling you this. You're going to either be with the devil or you're going to be with God. So yes, when you go to those polls, you take care of business. Now, if the devil want to start a war, another revolutionary war, a war with you, a civil war with you about change from this hell we're living in to a heaven standard of living. If he wants to fight with you, there will probably be black people that you're against, people of color, poor people, poor whites. It'll probably be you that they'll be sending the things that the enemy against you. They'll send your sons and your daughters and your mothers and fathers that they have trained and equipped with weapons. And some of them will come straight with you, given the authority to come to kill you. But one thing, ladies and gentlemen, you remember this. You do not have guns to fight the military. You do not have the wherewithal to fight the National Guard. You do not have, really, the wherewithal to fight cops. But what you do have is power. Power to win. Now, let me tell you, they don't fight Russia because they say it's a chance there's going to be mutual destruction. When they're on the highway, they drive basically straight, follow the rules, because if you don't, there's some destruction waiting to happen, just like that. So everybody got something to protect. Everybody got an interest in doing the right thing, except when it comes down to human beings, especially when you've disqualified someone as being human beings, especially when you've reduced them to slaves so you can use them and abuse them and make your world wonderful. So don't you think for 1 minute these folks finna give up all that stuff. So what you got to do? For me, I cannot advocate killing. Now, that doesn't mean that you all got to listen to me when it comes down to that. Some of you believe that you got the right to defend yourself. And I'm not going to be one to tell you that you don't. Whatever it takes. But for those of you who do not believe in killing, now let me tell you why I don't believe in killing. You see, God is the author of life. And by God being the author of life, if he gave you this life, God can take care of you. And if God can do all of that, God can remove you from this hell. And it doesn't mean taking away your life. He's putting your life in a place where, let me say, you have matured to fit in. Or you have matured to a degree that God put you in a lesser society where you can be an instrument of light to it. To that society. But it is God. But you got to know that. You got to know that for a fact. Otherwise, your faith is going to be stopped right there. And that's exactly where the devil starts. Your faith stopped right there. Ooh, can't cross there. And nobody never come back and said nothing. And all I've been doing. And you haven't allowed God to speak to you because you've been listening to the Bible. You've been listening to what somebody said that some people about God has said and passed it through some preachers or some priests, pope, what do you call them, fathers at the Catholic Church or something. And they come telling you something. And you see them right now over there with the devil. And Trump, I wish I didn't have to call you the devil. I know you're not the devil. But I know based upon the things that you say and the way you carry yourself, you're representing the devil. And I know the devil because I spent half of my life representing the devil. So I ain't ashamed of my game because I'm glad I turned that sucker loose. And I'm looking at you. You're going to turn him loose, but not just somebody make you turn him loose. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do that. Those of you who don't believe in killing, live your life in such a way to glorify God. And how you're doing that? By protecting all of the people that's suffering in this system in such a way that the rest of the world can see how to do the same thing, to protect one another from the suffering over there. And if you got to die, well, I'm going to leave that choice up to you again. But if you see them coming at you and you just feel that there's nothing to do and you wonder they're going to overcome you, remember, you got those out there who will fight back. You got some soldiers in this poverty side of town, and they will fight back. But for you, the way you fight back is this. You make the warriors destroy America. You in all of these fine places where they don't want you to be. You stay there. You raise havoc until they drop the bombs and try to destroy you. You know they'll do it. They brought down the World Trade Center. They will do anything, except they don't want to destroy this nation. And this nation, as I heard one young lady say, don't belong to us. They did everything they possibly could. I heard she said they broke the contract. We built the country up. They kill us. Treat us like they treat the natives. Make a treaty with us with these handouts, only to break them when they get ready. Say they broke the contract. We built our own Wall Street. Can you believe it? And they came and tore it up. And they're telling you, don't tear their stuff up. But they tore up black people's stuff. And when they did it again, they came out and wiped them out, murdered other people, just like they did the natives. Roswell, look at it. And they say, don't do that to us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, white folks, we're not trying to do that to you. We're just making you get your foot off our necks and get that beaten baton off our ass. That stuff is over. Meaning, ladies and gentlemen, if they know they got something to lose, and what do they pride? They pride their power, their buildings that represent money and Wall Street and all of the things that they stand for. And can you imagine that looking like a rock? Can you imagine that? Brought down by slave masters who refused to set God's people free. They'd rather destroy every building in every city and every town in this nation rather than set God's people free. That's a choice that they have to have before them. You put that choice before them, people who are suffering in America and anywhere in the world. You put that choice. Bring them down with you if they won't leave you alone. And that is their choice, I believe with all my heart, soul, and spirit. They'll leave you alone. They left Russia alone. They drive safe on the highways. They'll do the same for you. And then you will be deserving. You know why? Because in order for you to have that kind of power, in order for you to have that kind of force of God in your life behind you, ain't nobody left out. And all this lying, cheating, and stealing, and racism, and hatred, and bigotry, and all that other kind of stuff, and people talking about God don't know a doggone thing about God. Before I go, I want to say one more thing. Christian people in America know nothing about God. Now, when I say know nothing about God, they know what the books say about God. They know what the books say that others have said about God. But themselves, they know nothing about God. Except they will tell you, God woke me up this morning, opened my eyes. I prayed, I had this pain. God relieved this pain. I was looking for a job. God gave me the job. God had nothing to do with that. Beyond what is natural happening. And that doesn't mean that you are connected with God because God bless you. That ain't the problem. Your being here on earth is an indication that God is blessing you. Now, what it means about your renewal, what about your waking up, what about your new birth, all of that is determined by what you are doing for God. And you ain't doing nothing for God. Going to church on Sunday, talking about giving some preachers, some pimp preachers your money. And even if they ain't pimping you to ride in jets and stuff, they pimping you to pay some old mortgage, pimping you to pay some old bill, pimping you to pay gas, pimping you to put them up. That's the same doggone thing. It has nothing to do with God. If God wanted you to give God some money, then how come that money stops in their hands? So God is blessing them through you. Look here, ladies and gentlemen. You see how we look. What I just said, you know doggone well that is as foolish as foolish as foolish. If you let God talk to you, you can be free. And being free, you can serve one another. You can allow heaven to live paradise on earth. But how many of you thinking about freedom, peace, and prosperity and joy for everybody? How many black people are thinking about that? Well, because you think that you got to use money. And in order for the things that's natural, the peace that I just got through mentioned to you about, oh yes, I didn't tell you about that. When you're having your needs met, your wants met, and your desires met, that is the ingredient, the recipe for peace, for prosperity, for freedom, for joy of life, and the fulfillment of your dreams. What else can you want? Now, you think about that, ladies and gentlemen. I have shared with you the reason that I'm waiting to die is because 40 years tells me that you are not there yet, that you will settle for just a easier ride. Something just tells me that the education that you've gotten from the white man, that you've gotten from the system of hate, the education that you got from the devil, got too much of a hold on you for you to know how to love everybody and stand up for it. No, I just don't believe, even though you have seen the punishment, though you have seen the punishment, not just that the people running from the borders, coming to the border saying, help us, but you've seen it in this country, right before the world. Power put its neck on a citizen. A citizen who was crying out for help and mercy and choked the life out of it before the world to let you know that you, the world, don't mean nothing to them, to the power. You, the world, don't mean nothing to the world. Or should I say, you, the people of the world, don't mean nothing to the power of the powers of the world. Not a thing. And your brothers and sisters around here trying to get them off the hook, trying to make it easy for them. It's not easy for you. Well, God has put before you right now a choice. This, my friend, is the day that you should choose whom you going to serve, God or the devil. I ain't going to say no more than that. Until next time, this is A. Marcus say goodbye.